It's unlikely many of us would have imagined playing Elite Dangerous in a browser or on a mobile phone back in 2014 when the game initially released. But here we are in 2021 and this is entirely possible, all thanks to Xbox Cloud Gaming. So we know the technology is certainly possible, but the real question, is it any good? So in this video we're going to take a look at how well Elite Dangerous performs when streaming from the cloud. Now I'm going to take a look on my regular gaming PC in a browser. We're also going to take a look on a phone, my Galaxy S21, and then on a non-gaming laptop as well. Now Xbox, Microsoft are pushing this service pretty hard. This is all part of the Xbox Game Pass. If you sign up to the Ultimate version, the Ultimate subscription, you get access to streaming titles as well on Xbox Cloud Gaming. There's a lot of titles available, as you can see here. These are all included in the subscription price. But for now, we're just interested in Elite Dangerous. So this is the standard edition. It isn't even Horizons, even though Horizons has been rolled into the base edition on every single other platform. For some reason on the Xbox Game Pass, Elite Dangerous is a standalone version. There's no access to planets or anything like that here. Odyssey also isn't available on the Xbox Game Pass, but I don't think many people are going to be missing much there. The recorded footage you see on the screen right here then was captured on my gaming PC. This was using a wired internet connection, and as you'll see in this video, the internet connection is definitely the most important factor when it comes to gaming online. So there is a lot of video compression there. That isn't YouTube. In this case, it isn't my video rendering settings. It is simply how the game is streamed to the desktop. Sometimes the quality here is very, very good. Other times, not quite so much. And that can be dependent on your local internet connection, but it can also be dependent on what's going on with the servers as well, the cloud gaming servers. Also shrunk down the size of the browser here just to emphasize and highlight the fact that it is indeed running in a browser. When you first log into Elite Dangerous on the Xbox Game Pass, it will ask you to link to an existing Frontier account or create a new one. I chose to create a new Frontier account, so we're starting from scratch here on this particular occasion. I've decided to run through the tutorial just to get a bit of feel for things. Now I've put a controller display on the screen so you can see the latency. There is a little bit of lag. It's very, very minor all in all, but I thought putting the controller there would allow you to get a bit of a feel for the amount of latency going on. Now sometimes the latency is very, very noticeable, other times not so much, but it is always there. It's never a case that it's unnoticeable. And I'll play that bit of footage again there, take how long it takes from me pressing the blue X button to the hardpoints deploying. So a small fraction of a second really, but certainly quite noticeable. The same input latency is also noticeable here as I'm positioning the camera in the hangar bay. So as I press the shoulder pad buttons there, just take a look at how long it actually takes before that has an effect in game. Again, nothing significant. It's definitely more than playable, but it is noticeable. Moving on, we're here on my Galaxy S21, and you can just simply pick up and play from exactly the same save. And this brings some additional benefits. For example, if you have an Xbox, you can just play a locally downloaded version of Elite Dangerous if you own that, and then go on the move and continue with the same save on your phone. Now, if you do go ahead and use your phone, there's a couple of things you definitely will want to consider. One is the speed of your internet connection, your data connection. The other is the amount of data that you're going to use. Microsoft recommend a 4G connection with at least 10 megabits per second. I'll show you the speed of my connection in just a moment so you can get a bit of a feel for how that actually translates. In terms of data usage, I found that regardless of game, Xbox Cloud Gaming uses around about 50 megabytes of data per minute. So that translates to around about 3 gigabytes an hour. Sometimes that can be a little lower, sometimes it can be a little more, but that seems to be the average. At the top there, you can see the signal connection. This is saying that there's some traffic issues. I found that can either be local traffic issues, sometimes congestion along the internet somewhere, or sometimes even, I guess, at the far end on the Microsoft servers, and this can cause some issues, shall we say, with your gameplay. I'll give you an example of that in just a moment, or actually right here. So trying out combat, probably not the best idea when it comes to Xbox cloud gaming on Elite Dangerous, unless you can be 100% certain of both your connection as well as whatever's going on with the cloud servers, and that's simply for this reason. You can get some disconnects. Now I know my connection itself was absolutely stable here. Every other thing on the phone was working without any problem whatsoever. And when the connection actually does come back, if it comes back, sometimes it can take a moment before things sync back up with the controller. Fortunately, the hostile here, the enemy, was very easy, very weak, and the local system authority people were taking them out anyway, so I didn't suffer any losses, but it's something to be wary of. Personally, I wouldn't go out of my way to do combat on the cloud gaming platform. But for just about every other activity, it seems to be a great use of technology and a very nice way to play Elite Dangerous on the go. So whether you just want to play it around the house or in bed or something like that in the evening, or whether you want to go out and play it on the move, it seems to work very well indeed, just with the issues I've mentioned. And here is my speed test, just to give you an idea of what type of connection I've got. And for the purposes of this video, I didn't actually go out anywhere to locate somewhere with a slower connection and try Elite there. So not too high on the up speed here, but pretty good on the down. Packet loss is also something you're going to want to pay attention to. That's pretty good here for me, 0%. So if you're thinking about cloud gaming from your phone, then the quality of the connection is definitely something you'll want to consider. Another alternative is playing on a low-powered laptop. Now this isn't a gaming laptop at all, this is just a 10th generation i3. It's got no graphics card, and here we are playing Elite Dangerous on a pretty high graphical setting. It seems to be equivalent of the settings on the Xbox console, which makes sense as it's basically running on an Xbox server farm. The connection I'm using here is Wi-Fi, and it did get a little bit jittery from time to time. You'll notice some stuttering on the screen there. It also comes across with some breakup in the sound from time to time. But that said, I found all throughout my time with gaming on Xbox cloud gaming that, well, sometimes there you go, another pause there. Sometimes you'll pretty much constantly have various issues. Other times you can play for hours at a time without any problems at all, and you'd almost never know that you're playing on a cloud, aside from the very, very minute amount of latency, so it can be hit and miss. Ultimately, I suspect that this is mostly due to the fact the service is still in beta and needs a fair bit of work to get it right up to scratch, but it's very promising. The other thing I want to mention is battery usage. It can drain the battery on your phone quite quickly. I wouldn't expect to sit there and play multiple hours worth of gameplay in any particular session, at least not without having a charge in between. Overall then, if you've already got access to Xbox Game Pass, this does require the Ultimate subscription, which is priced around about £10 per month, £3 more expensive than the standard. And it's definitely worth a look if you've already got an Xbox and plan on moving between Xbox Mobile and browser. There's a lot of options there. But for those of you who don't already have Xbox Game Pass, I wouldn't really recommend signing up to Xbox Cloud Gaming just for this alone. It's not quite there yet, and basically leave it a bit of time to see how it goes, but there is a huge amount of potential here. A little bit on the expensive side though if you're signing up just for this. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.